Brand new James Gunn film, brand new Guardians of the Galaxy film. I'm super excited about it, and here's my review. With this film, we have what is most likely James Gunn's final MCU movie, unless he comes back in 10, 15 years from now, but most likely this is the last MCU movie before he leaves for the DCU in that Kevin Feige role that he was given there, which I'm sure he'll do great in. He is my favorite comic book director today, and I have a lot of faith that he will save the DCU and just make that franchise into something special. So with that out of the way, we really see with this movie, this is James Gunn's final goodbye and his final love letter to these characters and the fans of these characters. Without James Gunn, we wouldn't have these Guardians movies in the MCU, and we all have to thank him for that because these are some top tier MCU films. The original two are both in my top 3 in the MCU. I'm not really sure where this one would go yet, but I did love it. We start off this film with a character study into where these characters are post-Endgame. We see Peter Quill drowning his sorrows in alcohol, missing his love Gamora. We see Nebula really expanded and changed as a character, trying to rebuild this planet Nowhere for the people of the planet and the people of the Guardians in this new Guardians HQ, this Guardians headquarters. And we see the other Guardians members helping out here and there. The movie really dives deep into Rocket Raccoon. Right off the bat, we see him walking around listening to music. And the music he's listening to, you see he's still dealing with that inner crisis of, why am I here? Why was I created? What is my purpose? Am I just a monster that was horribly disfigured and created? Or am I here for something else? And this movie at its heart is a Rocket Raccoon movie. And it makes you realize that these Guardians films, at the core, all 3 of them were a Rocket Raccoon and Peter Quill movie. They are the stars of this franchise, and they are the stars of this team, and you really feel that in this film. The movie starts off with a bang, introducing Adam Warlock in this crazy action sequence. He's really shown to be a force to be reckoned with and a brute, powerful creation. We kind of see his space god, space Jesus personality that is shown in the comics right off the bat. After that scene, Warlock is used a little bit underutilized, I would say. I did feel that we could have got more from him. But then again, this isn't a Warlock movie. We're not trying to introduce this new big character. This is a Guardians wrap-up finale movie. So I'm not offended by what they did with Warlock like some people are. I don't think they ruined the character. I think it was a nice little setup. I just do wish they could have done a little bit more. But yeah, at its heart, this is a Rocket Raccoon film. And these scenes you get with Rocket, there's a lot of flashback scenes to his early days when he was first created. And those are very heartfelt and scenes that will make some people tear up and cry in the theater. You really get to dive more into his background, and I think that enhances your viewing experience if you were to go back and watch Guardians 1 and Guardians 2. I just watched them this previous week, and just with it fresh in my mind, thinking back on it, I do think that this third Guardians film will enhance the first 2 and make them better films, which they are already great films, so I'm very excited for that. I have to say, out of all 3 Guardians films, I would probably say this is my least favorite, and I still loved it, which is just a testament to how good these Guardians films are, to how good James Gunn is at making these films. If your worst one is a great film, this is probably the best trilogy in the MCU. Like I said, this is more about a character study of the Guardians characters than it is a movie that is based on its plot. It puts the characters above the story, and to me, that's fine. It works because without these great, quirky characters that have a lot of personality, you don't get the Guardians movies that we have today. The comics, I've read a few. I'm not big on them, but I do struggle to get into a lot of them because the characters just seem really one note and not fleshed out. It just seems like these giant space epics where in these movies you really get to know and fall in love with the characters. I think Rocket and Quill might be top 5, maybe higher MCU characters for me. I put them right up there with Iron Man and Thor. I love them that much. And while it does pain me to know that this is probably the last Guardians film, I'm okay with that. I think it was a wonderful send-off. And I don't want to see the Guardians movies created by anyone other than James Gunn. He has done a perfect job, and he was really good at balancing the music and the heart and the comedy and everything all into one just perfect space epic movie. Like I said with the music, that has always been a big standout for me for these Guardians films. It's always been one of my favorite parts. Every time I watch a Guardians film, I immediately go look up the soundtrack on Spotify and I listen to it for months on end. I can't get enough of them. And again, James Gunn killed it picking a perfect soundtrack that goes perfectly well with the movie. There was a lot of cool needle drops that I like. There's times when the Guardians are getting in their ships and they start the iPod or whatever they called in this film, and the music plays over the scene and they show the album cover on the iPod, and I thought that was fantastic. I love that. My 2 favorite things in life are music and movies, so when someone can combine them so perfectly, it makes for a great movie experience for me. Like I said, I don't want anyone else touching these films besides James Gunn. So with him leaving for the DCU, I'm okay with it being the last one. I thought he perfectly wrapped up every single Guardians character. Every single character got its own little mini arc. Even the side characters like Cosmo and Kraglin got a cool little arc in there that just put a smile on your face to see. There's many scenes in this movie where I was just smiling, grinning from ear to ear, and I couldn't help myself. A lot of callbacks to original films, a lot of callbacks to things at the beginning of this film, and there's one action scene where there's a song playing over it, and you'll know it when you see the movie. This action scene is fantastic. It might be my favorite action scene in the entire MCU. And each character, each Guardian in this action scene gets their own little moment. It's almost like a continuous one-shot at times of Groot getting a moment, Drax getting a moment, Star-Lord getting a moment, Gamora getting a moment. And it's just so fresh and nice to see on screen. It can't help but make you smile. In terms of the villain, I do think this is the strongest villain we've got in the Guardians trilogy, but I also think that the Guardians movies don't have the strongest villains. This is a villain who you really hate and you really despise and who you want to see fall because of the things he does, the horrific things he does to people. But he's also not that fleshed out. He's just kind of one note like, oh, this is a terrible guy. He does terrible things, and you don't even understand why he's doing these things. That's kind of the problem, a little bit one note, but you want to see him go down. And like I said, probably the best character villain in this series, but then again, the Guardians movies have a bit of a villain problem. And to me, that's okay because I still love these movies. They're still great. The first 2 are both in my top 25 movies of all time. And that is because of the Guardians themselves. You don't need these big epic villains. You don't need a Thanos or a Killmonger or a Vulture type villain in these movies. You need to focus on the Guardians. You need to focus on that core team. And you need to just show the love for them that we have. And yeah, the soundtrack, amazing. The movie, great. Left me smiling. It left me feeling satisfied with how the Guardians are left off. I'm not dying to see a Volume 4. If we get one 10, 15 years from now when James Gunn possibly is done with the DCU and is trying to return to Marvel, cool. But like I said, I'm very happy with where they left it off. And my final thoughts for this movie, I saw it at a Dolby IMAX screen. It is one of the biggest and loudest screens in the Midwest. And I have to say, please go out and see this in theaters, especially if you're a Marvel fan and especially if you're a Guardians fan. I don't think it's going to be a movie that rejuvenates your love for the MCU. If you've been kind of down on it recently, like I have, it didn't rejuvenate my love for the MCU, but it made me love James Gunn and the Guardians even more than I already did. So please go out and see in theaters, possibly in the biggest and best theater you can. For my overall score, I'd give this movie a 8.4 out of 10. I would give both the original Guardians in the 9s. This one might go up to the 9s. I did really enjoy it. I have to go check it out again. I think I had a lot of expectations going into this, and I was expecting it to be my favorite movie of all time, which is ridiculous. I don't know why I was doing that, and that might have brought it down a little bit, but like I said, still an 8.4 right now. A very, very great movie, and I'm excited to go check it out again. And as far as my personal collection, as you see behind me, I am a MCU completionist, but also I just love these Guardians films. They are films I can throw in whenever I want, and I know this is one that I can throw in whenever I want as well, so I will be picking this movie up as soon as it comes out. I'm very excited for that. Thank you all for watching my review, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you are a fan of the MCU and the Guardians like I am, please let me know in the comments below how you thought of this movie, how you thought of this final and new entry in the Guardians franchise. Also, share your ranking of all 3 movies, including the Christmas special if you want. I love to know how you felt about them. I plan on doing more bigger and better things with this channel in the future, so please stick around. Please keep checking out my videos. Please leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel. It'll help out immensely. And just, yeah, keep tuning in. I'm going to have more movie reviews, more movie rankings. If you guys want to see me talk about or do anything, please let me know in the comments below. I love to do something for you guys. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.